do a video on self-love and healing. So I've chosen to do a card reading. You'll have 4 choices of cards to pick from. So finding the one that resonates with you the best. And I hope that you get the answers that you're looking for. Choices. Group 1 is a rose quartz. Group 2 is malachite. Group 3 is morganite. And group 4 is yellow citrine. Each deck has an example of the archetype or position of learning, the block of which is happening for the situation at hand, 2 cards for insight, a card of wisdom from Ganesh, and 2 I am affirmations. So we'll begin with group number 1. This group is dealing with the archetype of the Virgin. The Virgin is someone who is pure at heart and spirit. So this gives us an opportunity to look at the idea of purity within the concept of self-love and healing. We are all pure spirits. Oftentimes in life, we often lose sight of the purity of which we truly exist. Saint Germain in the Violet Flame has an affirmation: I am the purity that God desires. We make choices sometimes that cause us not to see our purity, or maybe others point out the imperfections about us. But deep within each of us is a pure light energy, a soul. You can see here that on the card, she's holding herself, expressing the self-love of accepting the purity within the self. The blocker situation or accompanying factor to this situation is the element of truth. Here you see a woman on a journey. She's looking out of a window into the whole universe. She's standing on the justice scales, a sign of Libra. She's a truth seeker, and she has a choice to make, or she's weighing 2 different ways of thoughts or decisions, relating around the truth of who she really is. I say she, but this is applicable to a man or a woman. I love that it's connected to the rose quartz, a stone of love in itself. So here we can see the situation at hand and some insight into that situation. Again, we're back to truth, letting the truth be told. Finding the truth in a situation is taking off the mask and seeing clearly. We can see that the owl is offering us some insight or wisdom into a journey forward. Again, we have this window of opportunity. The card's number is 5. 5 for me creates or relates to the creation and the divine cosmic web of how many paths that we have available for us at any given moment. The next card of insight is why. We ask ourselves, why does this happen? Why me? And often the answer is in this book, a book of wisdom, maybe known as the Akashic, that all of our souls experiences are recorded and there for a reason. And we come into this time to learn lessons that will help our soul to grow and develop and to become more like the light body of which we are. We see here that the number is 4, creating balance between all 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. and also an example of how we all go through different seasons in our life. So the why could be that this is just a season and something that you had to experience to give you the lesson that your soul truly needed to be in order to evolve. The next card is Ganesha's wisdom, and it's nurturing. Oftentimes, we don't receive the nurturing that we needed to receive. One of the good aspects in hypnotherapy is child regression, looking back to the child to see the needs of the child. And when we create this meeting of the child with our adult self, we can oftentimes facilitate the needs of the child from our adult self. If we weren't nurtured, then we can nurture ourselves. And that's the great opportunity that we have now, is to create that motherly nurturing to that innocent part of ourself, that child part that is within each and every one of us. The affirmations for this group is observing. I am observing. I am observing the way that I am nurtured. I am observing my innocent and pure soul. I am observing. And serendipitous. I am serendipitous. I am serendipitous in creating experiences that are nurturing and loving to that divine part of myself. I am serendipitous in meeting others that will nurture me the way that I need to be nurtured. Moving on to group number 2. This is the group with Malachite. The archetype here, or the role that we're playing, is the king. When we think about a king, we think of masculine, which is interesting because it's accompanied by the malachite stone, which is innately feminine. So already we can see the balance and order that needs to be restored with this situation. A king is not only just, but fair and kind. The king has many people to be responsible for. The shadow aspect would be a king that is not doing things for the just reason, that isn't living up to the expectation of what a king really is, using excessive force or greed. So asking questions of how these elements might be affecting you in this situation. Is there something needs to be released so that you can be that enlightened king that every kingdom wishes for? The block or situation at hand is an emotional withdrawal. The emotional withdrawal, you can see that this person is in contemplation. They're definitely thinking about something of the past, maybe in the present, or wishing for something in the future. The light is shining upon this person as they're withdrawn. You can see the rainbow shadow casting from this person's light body. There's an element of water, which could be some of the signs that relate with water. It could be just the element of water, a sign to be close to the ocean. The card number is 8, and 8 is close to completion, but it is also the symbol of infinity, something that goes on and on and on. When we think about the connection between the masculine and the feminine, this interaction between the two has been going on for eons. We can learn from the stories of Shiva and Shakti in ancient Hinduism, that divine masculine and divine feminine, and that both aspects are needed, and each one of us has both of these aspects within. Deeper insight is the card of the never-ending story. Again, back to that infinity. This is something that's been going on and is going to continue to go on, but we don't need to be in despair. We can learn to love the lesson, to love the time that passes, to be present completely. The numbers for this are a 3 and a 7, which in numerology would come back to the 1, a sign of beginnings. So just like everything else, our life moves in cycles. So looking for a new beginning after this time of contemplation. And the next insight is the insight of peace. This is the question: what will it take for me to be peaceful? We can see that the dove is here, representing this divine, the olive branch, to extend the olive branch by not necessarily engaging people of the past, but to extend the intention of forgiveness, and to extend the intention to those in your life that you are taking care of, and to extend the intention of self-care, taking that time out when you need to come into balance. Again, the number is 2 and 3, coming to 5 and representing the divine. The next card is protection, and this is the wisdom of Ganesh. And in protection, we need to know that we are protected, that we are shielded every day, but also that the light within us is the largest and best protection that any of us can have. When we shine bright, nothing can stand in our presence that is not equal to our own unique vibration and power. The affirmation for this situation is balanced. That time and reflection could be bringing balance. Maybe during that time and reflection, you could take up a healthy hobby like yoga. But any hobby that speaks to you, that is good for your mind, body, and soul, for the masculine and the feminine within you, is going to be positive. The affirmation, I am balanced. I am balanced in my male and female energy. I am balancing the divine masculine and divine feminine. I am balanced in honoring my needs while I take time to contemplate for self-care and balancing the needs of others and my own. And the next affirmation is imagination. I can imagine all the ways that I want to move forward in this situation. I can imagine a life of balance, of being protected, of that righteousness that a king truly is. And moving on to group number 3 with the Morganite stone. Morganite is a stone of love, and the archetype here is also love. Learning what it is to love one another, learning what it is to accept love, and truly learning what it means to have self-love. The shadow aspect of this would be any situation that deals around being obsessive or jealous or controlling in love. There's many situations, we see it in movies all the time. We have situations where two people love each other very much and then they end up at odds. So asking yourself, what is love and the lesson of love trying to teach me here to help me heal? The block or situation at hand is around recognition and reward. Every person wants their love to be given back to them, to be received. We want recognition for the love that we're giving to someone. We want to be rewarded by being loved back. So coming to a place of self-love is important to see here that we have the three, which represents the Trinity. This Trinity could be the divine showering love to you. You can see the light coming into the soul, to this person, and they're humbly accepting the love of the divine. It could be to love the mind and the body and the spirit. We often think of ourselves as just one being, but these are all very important aspects of our being, and they all communicate and need to get along together. So asking, how can I love my body? How can I love my mind? How can I love my spirit? Am I open to receiving divine love? Am I expressing love to others? And am I open to receiving love? Deeper insight is by the book. There are certain patterns in place. We see with the number 11. We all know 11 is a very auspicious number that is given to us by the universe as a sign that we're on the right track. It's about living by the book in the way that the book is your heart. The book is your Akashic record. The book is what you came here to do and to learn the lesson. So living by the book in that way will be very rewarding. And finding the ones that have gone before you, because they're the ones that are able to shine some light on the matter for you. There's patterns in nature. One of my favorite patterns is the pattern of 5. And we can see here that there's a checkerboard very lightly in the sand of which these elephants walk. This 5 gives us opportunities. It's like the 5 on a dice. And in between those dots on the dice is this space. And we think that it's empty, but it's not. It has all kinds of patterns and interconnected webs, the divine matrix. The next look into it is about being blessed. Again, we come back to allowing that blessing upon us and that love from spirit and divine. We see that this is an angelic being sitting in a nautilus shell, confirming the patterns of numbers. In Fibonacci, there's a very specific sequence of numbers that happens again and again in all aspects of life on the planet, within our bodies, and with everything that we see in nature. Here we have the double 2. So this is a very powerful lesson for those of you that are on this path. Ganesha's wisdom is reflection. To take time to meditate and ponder upon what love actually is. This is also a 4 card, so it's showing that balance and knowing that even if you're going through a hard time right now, that it is just a season and it will pass. The I am affirmation for this group is creative. I am creative. I live in a world of color. I am creative. I create the love that I want to experience in this life. I am creative. I can reflect and look at creative ways to express love to myself and to others. I am worthy. I am worthy of the love that I desire. I am worthy of receiving the love that I deserve. It is my birthright. I am worthy. And moving on to the 4th group, the group with citrine. Citrine is definitely related to the teacher. It's a stone of knowledge. And the teacher We're all here to learn, and we're all here to teach. We are all part of this collective, that web of interconnectedness. We're all a part of the whole. You can see that she's opening the world, and there's lots of little worlds in between. That's the concept of micro and macro, or as above, so below. Everything is connected. The shadow aspect of teaching is false teachers, teachers that don't teach the truth, teachers that have their own agenda. So there is an element of being sure that we are sharing the knowledge that resonates as truth within our soul. The situation affecting this group is deception and envy. So this goes back to that negative aspect of the teaching, that maybe some of the teachings that have been taught to you have not been the truth. And you're going to come to a point where you're going to lift the mask and be able to see the truth. And it may change the way that you experience the world in a positive way. There's an element of envy here. There's a lot of people trying to teach, but we don't need to be envious of other people teaching. Any gift that anyone has is rightfully yours as well, because there's no difference in the other. So there's no reason to be jealous or have envy of anyone else that may be on a different path or ahead of the path that you're on. Just knowing that your position is valuable in itself. And if people are envious of you, well, you cannot control that. So you need to resonate with the Spirit. And here we see that the card number is 7, representing that divine golden light. And this green color is telling me that there's some hurt there around this teaching aspect. But there's also a possibility of financial gain. We're talking about the heart chakra. And we're talking about the possibility of making money. But being careful about anyone that's trying to sell you something that makes it seem too easy. A lot of times I see a lot of ads for teaching people how to make money, teaching people how to be prosperous. And sometimes these people, they make a lot of money in teaching, but maybe they're not necessarily helping. So if you've hired a teacher or you're thinking about hiring a teacher, just do your homework and make sure that they're authentic. You can get references. You can talk to other people who have taken that course if you're the student in this situation. And if you're the teacher, just continue to do what you do. You know what you're doing, and you were planning to do this. If this was part of your soul plan, then just keep going. And we can see here, with the inside around this, is the building blocks. And that is so true for many of us right now. We are building and becoming something new, building a new foundation. And this time, astrologically, is very powerful for building. It's Mercury retrograde. We're in Pisces, where we have the imagination to see the world that we want to live in. And Aries is getting ready to come with that fire to help navigate and push us forward and bring our fruition to pass. Here we see the numbers of 2 and 8, coming back to the 1, new beginnings. So see this time as a time of learning or a time of preparing to teach. And the other one is imagination. Again, imagining and creating and building, what is it that you want to share? It's time to go to the drawing board. It's time to imagine what you want to do. There could be a choice involved here. So imagine the path that suits you the best and suits your soul the best, doing what you truly want to do. And Ganesha's wisdom is energetic movement, Everything in the universe is moving constantly. There is no stillness. It is a universal law. Everything is in motion. I think of the idea of stepping onto a train platform, and the train comes and the train goes, and the next train comes and the next train goes. You have to wait for the correct train, but when that correct train comes to that platform, you need to get on it and take the forward motion on that path to get to your destination. It's not enough to just stay on the platform, but we also must be patient to be on the correct train to take us to the correct destination. The number of this card is 5, so it's definitely a symbol of that interconnected web and all the choices that we have. Imagine the possibilities and get ready to move and take action on that path that you desire. Being creative, being confident. I'm confident in what I am learning. I am confident in what I am teaching. I am confident in the path that I have chosen to move forward. And I am courageous. When that opportunity comes, I will jump on that plane or on that train. When the opportunity comes, I'm going to be courageous. I'm going to throw caution, not necessarily to the wind, but I can make very conscious decisions to jump into the deep end when that deep end is meant for me. And then I will put my fears behind me, and I will courageously step into my future. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe to my page. I'm open for any feedback as I'm building the page that you would like to see, or any questions that you might have regarding different subjects that I can speak on or do readings for. So please just send me a message or find me on my other social media platforms. Namaste.